You are now about to witness the awesome, crushing might of Woo! Welcome, my friends, to a show that seemingly, apparently, possibly never ends. Knuckle Up number 283, the first of 2017. You are here. I am there. Where? In your heads. In your hearts, in your souls. Look, no New Year's Eve celebration is not complete without riding crop and a megaphone and boots. So you're lucky I'm here, and we got a lot to talk about, but not before Bob Riley, singer for Stigmata, I'm calling of the just, says the words that have become the virtual watch phrase of 2017, and the ones that have for years kicked off Knuckle Up right now. I don't even have to sing it, you know it. By now it should be committed to memory. I'm on my way back nowhere. I took my time and I could not see so clear, but I'm taking a real good look at you. I'm taking a real good look at your face. Being paid back in full, always nothing. All right, my friends. Welcome to the show that seemingly, apparently, kind of, sort of never ends. This is Knuckle Up number 283. I'm your host, Eugene S. Robinson, with the S standing for secret. Secret. So, but there's nothing secret about this. Oh, yeah, thanks. Everybody's texting me now. All right. And anyway, UFC 207 with 2017, new year, new stuff. Let's jump in right away. I got the airplane mask on. So, you know, I like to drive with this thing on because I think, like Yoda, that driving is a lot about just feel, you know. You don't really, you know, seeing is overrated. I don't know why they don't give blind people driver's licenses now. You know, there's some, if you go to Aussie.com, like right now, it's all Eugene Day on Aussie.com. But like the second article down called, I don't remember what the title is, like A Sucker's Guide to 2017 or some such thing. And you scroll all the way to the bottom of it. There's a great comment by a guy who clearly, you know, he's a newbie, first timer. And his only comment to the entire article was, what the fuck? What he's not, you know, he's not there yet, man. You know, the Gnostics, GNOSTICS, believe you shouldn't write this stuff down because it's going to be open to all kinds of violent misinterpretation, you know, vis-a-vis every single religious war. Don't write it down. The only way you can effectively translate it is if you speak to you, right? Because I can glean things that, you know, there's a guy who's a huge Oxbow fan and came up to me and said, what are your lyrics about? Are they about how tough it is to be young, black, and gay? Guy's a big fan, man. He's been reading the lyrics for a while. There's nothing in the lyric sheet about youngness, blackness, or gayness, but okay. You can't rely on the print. As much as I like to love the printed word, you can't rely on it. Best modes of communication of actual knowledge, mouth to mouth, God's mouth to your ear, me to you, you to me, whatever. And those of you who are tweeting, thank you. So this UFC 207, let's just start at the end. And there's no need for gloating since both Kid Nate and I picked Nunes to win. But I want to talk about criminal malfeasance and malpractice. Vis-a-vis, I would have had much. I don't know if you ever had this situation where you've done something like fucked up, and I can't really tell a story without just saying it like it is. You know, I don't know if you've ever had the sensation of like realizing that the jig is up. You know, like I remember at one point playing a show with the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and I'm like on stage in my underwear. There's a riot had broken out, right? And I don't down the Shalala with me. I'm not going to go into any deeper than that. But at one point, I have unscrewed the mic stand loose from the mic base, and I'm whipping it around like a lightsaber. And out of the corner of my eye, I see the thin blue line walking down either side of the theater. Destination Eugene Robinson. Okay, so at that point, I realize the jig is up. I see 4 or 5 cops with guns coming toward me down the aisle, and I'm naked on stage with a mic stand screwed loose from the base that I'm wheeling about, trying to knock off the bouncers and the other stage staff that are trying to keep us from playing the show. This is not Oxbow. This is Whipping Boy, my old band. So you got to realize at that point, you look up, you see the cops. Immediately, I went into reasonable guy mode. You know, screwed the mic stand, the bass, put my pants on, put my jacket on. Cop gets on stage. You realize you're done. I go, yep. Thank you, officer. Off the fucking stage. When Honda left that cage, the first thing she should have seen are it was a fight. It was in Vegas, right? Yeah, Las Vegas police trundling Tara Vavardian, her coach, hustling him down the aisle, his toes scraping in the dust of the arena as they take him out to a waiting cruiser or a paddy wagon and take up to lock up in Vegas. Because that man is guilty of criminal malfeasance, of criminal malpractice. It's the same feeling I get when I drive Saturday or Sunday when I'm driving around and I see all these kind of former soccer moms and dads, you know, dutifully trundling their kids in their karate gis into karate schools to learn how to defend themselves. Or women taking model mugging classes and thinking that shit is going to help. It's a terrible misdirect. Building confidence, you know what? Confidence doesn't stop bullets. Despite the success that General Butt Naked had, real guy, General Butt Naked, Facebook friend of mine, Joshua Blahi, who believed that by running naked at the opposing armed forces in Africa, the country in Africa, I forget now which one was his, would prevent them from being struck by bullets. And given the fact that he's still alive, I guess it worked for him. But the reality of it is, belief is cold comfort. It's cold comfort in the absence of real skill or real talent. You know, most people I know who don't fight believe they can fight. They do not fight, and yet they believe they can fight. And if you've been reading my stuff since the old days of Grappling Magazine, you know, and my whole George Plimpton-esque escapade to fighting pros, you could understand that what was going on in my mind was the same idea that affects those people who can't fight, thinking they can fight, which is very specifically this. I have 2 hands, I got 2 legs, why not? Indeed, why not? Like I sang to some guy on the mat the other day, what will make that little old ant think he can move a rubber tree plant? Everyone knows an ant can't move a rubber tree plant, but he's got high hopes. I sang that whole song to a guy, and at the end he goes, I don't get it. I said, you never will. That's the point. No matter how high your hopes are, it does not make you a boxing coach. Now, I thought what was happening was a bit of acts of legerdemain, that they're larding the comeback video with shots of her working the pads and working the bed to create the illusion, the Randy Couture-esque illusion that this is what she was going to do. And I'm speaking very specifically of Randy Couture against Tony, the boxer, the professional boxer. Now, we all were hoping that Randy, who boxed in the Army and had some, passing, would get in there and like try to fucking duke it out. Randy, never known for being unsavvy or stupid outside of the arena of marriage, was like, fuck that, low ankle pick, and beat him up on the ground. That's the way, he liked it. You gotta be kidding. You gotta be kidding. Well, no, Eugene, I'm not kidding. If you're gonna come to a gunfight, you gotta bring a gun. Okay. How'd that work out for you, Tyra Vadian? Anna Maria DeMars, Anna Maria DeMars, Ronda's mother, best, she was soundly ignored. Your fucking man is this guy who was a UFC fighter himself. Somebody. I understand loyalty. But the fact of the matter, his shock indicates to me that he is that we are in a place where the Peter principle applies. You rise to the greatest level of your incompetence. Because unless something magical happened behind when they put the needle down on that bad reputation and the gate locks, I don't know how he's thinking that was a smart move. It's like those guys who think they can fight but don't fight. Mike Tyson's response to this was best of all. He's like, wait a minute. Because you hear that in New York City. I'd fight him for 10 minutes. I'd fight. And these people really imagine that they have a chance. And Tyson said, look, I'm a professional. You know what that means? That means I do this all the time. When you're out eating cupcakes, I'm doing this. When you're out getting gas, I'm doing. Well, in Tyson's case, this wasn't exactly always the truth. If you listen to last week's Knuckle Up or the week before's Knuckle Up, because I took off Christmas and Hanukkah. Always doing this. This idea that, look, let's for a second, let's forget about Tyra Vardian. Let's forget about him for half a second. You were on the Fantasy MMA League. You were on Ronda's team, Honda's team. You say, well, this woman, Amanda Nunes, also does judo. She boxes, does judo, and is a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. On our plus side, we've got Jason Manley, former Cesar Gracie phenom, protege. We've got Olympic judo level, and we've got zero fucking boxing. Fantasy League, just you and me, not Tyra Vadian. You say, okay, well, let's see. Jiu-jitsu, unless I'm in a very, very favorable place, I'm probably not going to get the drop on a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I'm just guessing. I'm just trying to be as pessimistic as humanly possible. I'm probably not going to, in 6 months of bag work, be able to do anything but use boxing to set up an entry. I'm going to get my hips in as soon as possible. See, I avoided doing that. As soon as possible, so I can get a hip throw and then maybe hope that I get a break. What does it say when who's got her training with regulation boxing gloves on? Who's got that? You do realize that those big pads are not, when you get the 4-ounce gloves, it's a different world. Go like this and woo, it's Three Stooges land. You're not stopping it. You're not stopping it with this. It's getting right through. Now Mixed Taravidian, he spent months and months planning. Like I told my roommate Rob ages ago, when I had a roommate named Rob, I don't want to think about you 29, 30 days out of the month. That one day of the month that I want to think about you. I don't want to have to think bad thoughts about you. Give me the fucking money for the rent. He had months and months to prepare for this. Even longer, in a year, since Holly Holmes, he's had. They should have immediately, yeah, okay, go to Golden Corral, Hungry Hunter, wherever your favorite restaurant of choice is, with the open buffet. Enjoy yourself, knock yourself out. You get back on Monday, and we'll get some serious people in here. Pay the money. You got the money. Pay the money. How do you apportion your time? How much time do you spend on boxing? People think just because guys are swinging their arms, that they call it a sweet science for a reason. Boxing is not fucking easy. I know. I was beaten up by a 62-year-old man. That's how I know. Used to be my boxing coach. I got lipped off one time. Yeah, but because secretly in my head at the body weight of 250, I think at the time, I figured this old man is not. Why don't give me? He could punch me with my hands at my side. I'm not going down. Dude hit me with a body shot. I saw Christ. I also never went back. That's how hard it was. Slow-mo was like getting hit by a lumber truck. You feel my internal organs were like this. As a way, I was like, I got you, Chief. Fuck that. I'm going back to jiu-jitsu. I mean, I used to box, right? So I could see it kind of coming and move my body a bit. I was thinking, oh my God, if I had that to move my body. So this guy, the mother told you, the jungle told you. I don't even know if your man told you. People told you. The blogosphere told you. Everybody told you. But you were loyal. And it's tempting when a guy is telling you stuff that you want to hear, you want that guy around. Hey, there's nothing I hate worse than a yes man. Isn't that right, buddy? You got that right, Eugene. Yeah, I love that guy. And you want to tell people, like, I had guys texting me. I can show you the text record now. Guys, hey, wait, hold on a second. Here, hold on. I'll just show you the text. It was great. It was great. I mean, this is like, here we go. All these cats are sitting some other place watching the fight. They're like, first round armbar. The bald one is setting up the see. You can get kind of conspiracy into fuckery. The bald one is setting up the home Rousey rematch. Look at, would they give her $3 million if she was gonna come and tank? 30 times the payday. You're crazy. These guys are bettors. bettors, bettors. They're betting money, right? And immediately I could send this. And now they can afford to lose the money. That's what the ha-has were about. Afford to lose the money. Why am I not shaving? I'm giving my face a break. Sick of it. I'll be shaving as soon as the show is over, though, because people have been smiling at me on the street. Maybe they think like I'm some kindly. Maybe they think I'm like from the guy from the Song of the South. You know that Disney. What's his name? Uncle Festus? No, that's Uncle. That's the guy from Addams Family. Who was the guy in the Song of the South played by Bill Bojangles Robinson who was shuffling around and singing with Shirley Temple? That's who they think I am. I shave and nobody's smiling at me. People have been smiling at me the last week. You know, I'm hearing this stuff about Trump's America. In California, at least, I think that the white guilt has drilled down so deep that the people who typically, even if I'm wearing a Brooks Brothers overcoat, or treat me like I'm a homeless guy. Now that I actually look like a homeless guy, people are smiling. Maybe it's because they know the special handling transport is coming for me. And speaking of which, I got a guy, I don't know that he wants me to use his name, who's advancing this idea of racism in MMA in an interesting way. And I'll see if I can get to it before the show is out. And he's looking specifically at claims made by T. Wood, you know, and I don't really have too much patience for racism. It's like, there are millions of reasons not to like me. If you want to hinge your wagon to the idea that I'm black is one of them, more power to you. Unless you have the power to give me a job or you're carrying a gun, I don't give a shit what you think. However, this guy is made who, if he's listening and you want to text me, tweet me, I'll use your name, but I don't know if you want me to use your name. He's making some actually compelling claims, so I'm going to try to get back to it. But let's get through this Nunes thing. So so he hustles her out there. They get her out there. She's like not doing the press thing. And I knew if I was a betting man, that is, if I wasn't broke, I knew at the moment at which I would put my money on Nunes is a stare down. Watch a stare down like a Zapruder film. Watch it carefully. Watch it closely. And it took me a couple of times because the first time I'm looking at Nunes completely. I'm looking at Honda completely. And then I'm doing this kind of splits, like I've coalesced the images in my mind. And so I'm watching, it's like 3 seconds, 6 seconds, and right toward the end, right as they break, neither one of them blink, which makes it really hard, but Amanda has to kind of like cant her body forward and lean in, and she's down a little bit. And so Honda's kind of looking up a little bit, but at a certain point, 3/4 or 4/5 from the end, she doesn't blink, but Ronda's face changes. Baseball players are the most superstitious fucking people around. You find a guy, if he's wearing a certain underwear and he thinks about that underwear in connection to the home runs he's hit, that guy's wearing that for the whole series. Forget it. Don't care. What hot models at the house. Screw you. This underwear is making me lucky. Who's to say? Most people say, yeah, I had to work pretty hard for that luck. Yeah, you know what? Who's to say? I can't. Maybe there is the butterfly effect. Maybe there is some sort of connection between dirty underwear and hitting home runs. Whatever you need to line up in that belief column, you use. But I saw that switch go out. And when I saw that switch go out, if I was a betting man, also known as not broke, I'd have bet on Nunes. And she said it best in the post-fight presser. She goes, look, and she said it in the cage. She said, Ronda's rich. She should be thinking about other things now, thinking about movies. Whatever. Who wants to fucking do this? Or another boxer said that only poor people want to do this. No rich guys want to do this. They have fencing clubs or whatever they do. I'm here to make my bones. And there's something that happens. You know what's rare about a guy like Emmitt Smith or Tom Cruise? That they made it as long as they did. Tom Cruise, any of you see Jack Reacher 2? No. Any of you trying to make a gay meme out of Jack Reacher? It's a new gay title with Jack Reacher as a thing. Nah, there's something there. I haven't quite worked it out. Jack Reach Around, something. Recruit. He hasn't given up, nor has he surrendered. Hero who hasn't surrendered but has clearly given up, based on the Folkers movies. So you get Emmitt Smith. It's almost statistically impossible to play football as long as he did and not end up with devastating injuries, but he did. So yeah, while you might want to devalue the presence and the notion of luck, the reality of it is, people make decisions based on lucky pennies all the time. I told you a story in an old Knuckle Up about Axl Rose, who had to spend like $15,000 before he would play a show in London because they didn't have his lucky coat. He had left it in Paris. He made them go. He was sitting in the arena. People were sitting in their seats ready for the Guns N' Roses show 2 hours later after they flew a fucking jet to Paris to get his lucky coat. And he didn't wear it on stage at night. He just wanted to have it. He just wanted to have it. And people were like, oh, that Axl Rose asshole, that Axl Rose. Hey, I don't even know if this made the newspaper. I know from a guy who was on the road crew. He had to get his jacket. Yeah, I understand. I know how that shit works. I lost a custom-made vest at Roadburn 3 years ago. They said, oh, yeah, we'll look for it. Guns N' Roses, you say, I'm not going on until I get the vest. Or Mike Tyson from the show 2 weeks ago, I'm not doing the fight if I can't get the necklace. You got to play hardball sometimes. But your perception of luck, you know, at that point, I don't know what happened in her head, but, you know, there was a point at which Tyson was no longer feared. The fear is a killer. Oh, look at that. It's about to go. I mean, when there are a couple of cats, like when he fought Michael Spinks, that guy just feared it. And once people weren't afraid of Tyson anymore, game was on, man. Or like Notorious B.I.G. said, you know, picture me being afraid of a man who breathes the same air as me. And Amanda was just looking, kind of amused, just looking. Do you know what the statistical probability of somebody coming off a 400-day layoff and a loss against a hungry Brazilian who's been boxing since she was 6? The fuck out of here. How did you drink so thoroughly and deeply of the Kool-Aid that you believed that was going to happen? And, you know, I don't know if you just read, I tweeted it out minutes before I started the show, Ronda's response to her fans, which, you know, I need to go home. Thank you for your support, you know, in the face of all the haters. You know what? Enough on this hater shit, okay? And there's that one guy who always leaves in the comments on the show, Honda, hey, buddy, you know, I'm a Honda fan. I feel about her the way I feel about Cain Velasquez because of my connection with the mother. I did a piece on the mother. Beautiful woman. But I'm going to tell you, as a guy who does a PR show, the If I Did It show, I got to tell you, she's made major missteps. Have a permanent effect on her future earning power. Churlish. Churlish. And that churlishness doesn't fucking play. Nobody wants a churlish fucking Mary Lou Retton. People stopped talking to Joe DiMaggio after they realized how churlish he was. And Michael Jordan, you know, is being reborn to the crying Jordan meme, but he's not a nice guy. Churlish. Lookers thing. You know who played that well? Kungle used to do that. It was amazing. I watched him once. Cameras are rolling. He's like, I could be the bit, and Dana with the bit, and the camera's off, and he's like, you do realize, yeah, honesty is the best policy, but sometimes that shit doesn't really fucking pay. It doesn't pay. And you got these stooges around your tower of body, and you got, I mean, nobody's helping you. So she puts out this release. It says, I'm going to go back, and my friends and family are going to reevaluate. I'm going to think about my, don't. This is not a long thought process. This is not heavy. You're not a gatekeeper. You're not somebody just a gamer who's in there just glad to be there. I don't care if you need to do it. You need to do something else as well. You could open up a judo camp. You could open up a series of schools. You could go speaking tours. There are lots of other things that you could do while you're waiting for the movie roles to either come in or not come in. But fighting should not be one of them, beyond a shadow of a doubt. Nobody but an extreme sadist wants to see you fight again. So if Holly Holm loses to Hermie, friend of Knuckle Up, full disclosure, former teammate. So you have two fighters coming off a loss. Do you match them up again? No, you don't do that because she still doesn't have an answer for Holly. What would the point of that be? She's not there to make money. These $3 million paydays are nice. These $3 million paydays pale in comparison to how much she's made in royalties from even the shittiest movie she's done. Well, the movies won't continue. Yes, that may be true. The movies don't continue, but you know what continues? Royalty checks. Still getting checks for Leonard Part 6, baby. Believe it. But Coach Dream Crusher Sorrell said it best. Sometimes the things that break when you lose are never to be fixed. Never to be fixed. My back is killing me now. Tuesday morning, I'll be doing jiu-jitsu. It will have been fixed. This other shit, nope. And you scumbags who asked her during that press conference, asking Amanda, do you feel a little bit sorry for well, let me get this straight. Are you asking if I'm feeling sorry for the woman who got $3 million, who's got a house in that huge house? You know who I feel sorry for? I feel sorry for me. That's who I feel sorry for. If you're understanding, if I feel her pain, yeah, well, okay, I've got some empathy. I've got no sympathy. I know what it feels like to not have, to lose. So, and I also had the Zapruder, the bald one's reaction when he put that belt on Amanda. You do these guys, I don't know what air they're breathing. They're in Vegas. They should be talking to fucking touts and sharpies and guys who are giving you the straight scoop on all of this. How is this a surprise? You know, somebody said, oh yeah, do you think he wants a big Brazilian lesbian? I tell you, watch her whole press conference. She's beautiful. Amanda Nunes, beautiful. It was beautifully executed. And she's got that legitimate golly G, not the bullshit Sage Northcutt, you know, golly G will. And it may not be bullshit with him either. I don't know. It just seems cornball. But with her, it was just so the ebullience, the happiness. It was just, you know, nobody's gonna take me down. Nobody's gonna hold me down. Oh, I was happy for her. As happy as I was for her, was as happy as I was for Dominic Cruz. That guy is a fucking man. Like John Turturro's father used to say about John Wayne. Now that's a fucking man. Even though John Wayne, also known as Marion, was a Nazi. Liked to play SS. He had a picture of Adolf tucked in his cowboy vest. He was a Nazi, but not anymore. He's a Nazi, life even the score. Cruz stood up and they said, why you know, stand up? He goes, hey, Cruz, the guy is great. I should dedicate this whole show to him. He goes, you know, he goes, so why don't you sit down? Let me sit down. Stand up guy, stand up. Like when I pee. He didn't say that. He didn't say that, but I mean, that was the implication. And why? Why? Have you seen people, you know, so people say, oh, you've been doing music. People go, oh, you're so photogenic. It's not photogenic. Well, now it's hard to believe, right? But it's not so much that I'm photogenic, but you have to be, I've been on stage since I got my first modeling gig when I was 3 years old for Gertz department store in Queens. I've been doing this a long time. You put me on a stage, and people say, we're going to take some pictures, and like an amoeba, I can feel the heat change on the stage. I know where the lights are. You look at the press conference, picture in picture, PIP it, and take Cody Garbrandt against Cruz. Cody Garbrandt is sitting there, and the fucking table, the table is like at his chin. Charlie Brown in the house. What the hell is Linus doing up there? Who's come from? He stood up. His suit was sharp. You could see it. Seemed like a man in command. And he took it all. Like Joe Rogan versus the feminists. So you go to YouTube and you type that in, and you see Joe Rogan against my friend Lydia Lunch. I know Lydia well enough to know. She's done it to me 1,000 times. You just get tempted. Come now, little boy, little boy. And Joe, you know, reached into the limbic centers of Joe's brain, the bullied kid, and he flipped out on her. And he said, oh, you're just a middle-aged, out-of-shape woman. And he's saying stuff. True, she is middle-aged. Unless she's going to live to fucking, you know, 180 years old. She's middle-aged. Lydia is, what, 57? I don't remember. And she doesn't exercise. She performs with a band, and that's probably good enough for her. But, you know, and he just laying it on. And when I knew at the end of that, I go, Lydia's a man. Because she fucking took it all and stayed in the fight. And I'm watching Dominic Cruz stay up there in that press conference. And of course, yes, I'm starting to identify with him a little too much. Like I said before, if I'm in the MMA fights I've been in that I'm losing, I'm better than him. Crack. Eugene's on to use Tank Abbott's Queer Street. Let me go at the end of the round. I can take him. Get out there, second round, choked out. Still, as the air is popping into like black bubbles around there, I'm better than him. Put up and said, you know what? You know, the guy, good, high volume, step forward. He was already analyzed. He goes, I'm one of the top guys in the world. I've been there. I've been undefeated for how many? 13 fights. I was the champion. He said, this is part of the game. This is life. Go be an accountant. But this is what I signed up for. This is why I'm here. Any other questions? I'm a media professional. Any other questions? And Cody, for his part, was great. He goes, look, you know, in third grade, that means he was 8 years old. I mean, I didn't learn how to read until I was like 7, I think, 6. And when she was like 3. So it, you know. But he says, but I barely got out of high school. He's like, you know, I knew he was going to trash talk his way around me. And people were asking me at the end of that fight, guys, some of you guys were tweeting me like, you did say something. And I couldn't really say anything because guy. I wanted to hate on the guy. And there's something that Cruz said that was great. He goes, nothing I've said by way of trash talk, not a single thing I've said by way of trash talk has been untrue. It may have been impolite, but it wasn't untrue. You're going to get your feelings hurt, go do something else. That's the least of your problems, get your feelings hurt. Or like my favorite pre-fight line for bar scraps and engagements out by the juniper bushes behind the 7-Eleven. Somebody's about to get hurt, and I'm not talking about feelings. I use that, you know, that's like my go-to. I should have a t-shirt printed up that says that because I've used that more often immediately preceding a dust-up than any other single line. It just makes so much better sense. To lay it out just how it's going to go. So Cruz, both Kid Nate and I picked Cruz, and he did lose a fight. It was such a close look. There is a what's the word I'm looking for? Not pantheon. There's a rank order to loss. I'm just going to do them in no specific order. There's a knockout. There's a TKO. Submission. What else is it? There's a unanimous decision. Split decision. Now, out of those 5, what do you think most fair? If you yourself are there, do you think that I like admitting that in my first MMA match I got knocked down at the end of the first round and choked out 10 seconds of the second round? Do you think I like talking about that? I would much prefer to have lost by way of a split decision. That means it was very close, but somehow on that day, like Matt Lindland once said about, he said it in response to being knocked out, which is completely hilarious. He said, obviously the refs saw that there was a reason to give it to the other guy. I think he got knocked out by Vito Belfort. Dude's looking up at the roof of the SAP Center in San Jose. Yeah, hey, dude, you were toes up on the mat. Maybe that was the reason. No, I was ready to go. I don't know what you saw. I love that. The old Brazilian jiu-jitsu players, you know, you say, God, and when you lost, the guy goes, oh, I didn't lose. Well, no, the other guy won. He goes, that's very different. With his systematic denial of the reality of experience. Got it. So it was close. I mean, out of those 5 types of losses, he got the least painful kind of loss. He goes, good. Let those guys, he wants the belt. Let him have the belt for a little bit. To do what Honda should have done. He will be training on Tuesday, working on whatever shit that he fucked up, specifically tailor-made for Cody. The belt and wants to challenge him again. He's like, yeah. I gotta fight Cody first. The clock starts now. Cody doesn't see it yet. He needs to see it. The number one mistake. This is what happens. You win. And I was thinking this when Amanda Nunes was talking. You win, they give you the belt, and all of a sudden, your orientation, they ask Amanda a question, who would you like to fight next? Just, I don't care. I want to go home with my family. So the turn becomes inward. I've gotten to the mountaintop, and I can look down and see the things I've been neglecting. I want to go see my family. I'm gonna get my mother a house. I'm gonna, buy nice things for my friends. I'm gonna relax and enjoy. It's human, perfectly acceptable. Cody, they say, who do you? He said, well, I think we should get a rematch right away with Cruz. Stick to that, buddy. Stick to that. Stick to that. That's your best fucking bet right there, right now. Or TJ, you said whatever. But right now, I'm gonna let no. Andy Grove wrote a book called Only the Paranoid Survive. You should do it what McGee does. At that point, all that shit about the stuff down here, down at the bottom of the mountain, that's just chatter for him. In actual fact, he's looking up again immediately. As soon as that win was pocketed, I'm looking at my next step, lest you stumble. I mean, I don't care what the UFC. Nah, don't do that. Don't do that. And now I'm hearing T. Wood and Bisping are going to fight a catch fight. Dudes are starting to think. Send a check to Nate, please. Starting to think. Like, fantasy MMA league. Is there anybody that people would be jazzed if I fight? Just go online. Go in the comment section of any fucking column on any MMA thing to just see. I'd pay that. I'd pay $1. See, I want to see that. Right? And if there's no chatter, you got to dig deep and figure it out. There's an inbuilt storyline to TJ and Cody, and that's fine. And if I'm Dominic, I say I'm open. You guys want to call me for a rematch? I'm cool. But in actuality, he said 3/4 away through, he goes, there are other guys to fight. Cody, let him fight him. Let him be the champion for a bit. Only way you keep that is to be obsessed about keeping it. And if you don't think, there's this whole bad blood thing with TJ and Dwayne Bang Ludwig, and if you don't think they've been thinking about Cody for a long time, you're wrong. If Cody wants to hang out with kids with leukemia, this is politically incorrect. And I'm not even going to say who said it because the guy doesn't need the grief. But as the camera flashes to Cody walking into the cage, the guy's cop was, who's that fruit? First of all, I don't even really hear people referred to as fruits anymore, so that was really pretty amusing. And then it was even more amusing when it ended up being like a 12-year-old kid, And so I thought the cynic in me thought, Cody, this is a good play on the heartstrings. But Cody is like an MMA version of the band Journey. He's like saying all this cornball stuff that you can't believe somebody would really say. And then I watch him in the post-fight presser, and I go, oh shit. This is really that guy. He's really believes. And at that point, my heart thawed. It's sad to see my pick go down in flames. Sad to see Cruz win. Cruz is, like you said, I'm the smarter guy. Whatever. I'm a media professional. This is my job. I'm an entertainer. Were you entertained? Good. Great. Next. But, as far as I'm concerned, Cody, there was some allusion to life difficulties he was having, some sort of troubles. I don't know what was the rebop on that. I imagine drugs, alcohol, crime, whatever. Who knows? That's, that story, that old scrappy wrong side of the track story. Again, the cynic in me wants to go save that cornball mishmash. I'm not interested. But no, in this case, it's real shit for him, like a Journey song. Steve Perry, I read the interview. He's like, don't stop believing. That's what you gotta. If I'm saying stuff like that, it's because I'm making fun of you. Because you just had another loss. I'm going, hey, man, guys come back to the team surround. You did your best out there. Don't stop believing. And they look at me to see if I'm serious, and I go, Oh man, this Grizzly Adams thing is driving me to distraction. And I picked TJ to win, but TJ's in trouble. TJ's in trouble because I'm glad he won. He's in trouble because Conor McGeeitis. Conor McGeeitis will fuck you up. You don't think so? Let's ask the Osmonds or the Barge. I got it. We get a little guy singing, and we get the brothers in the band playing, and we'll have a family band, just like the Jackson 5. TJ's like, I can do the smack, and I can do the sassy thing, and I can call people out. Kind of a cross between Conor McGee and, well, Conor McGee really. He barely won that fight as far as I was concerned. Barely. Did I want to see him get his head beaten in? I picked him to win, but I wanted to see his head get beaten in. Why, Eugene? Why for you wanted to see? Because I think he's a stooge. I think he's a stooge. I'm telling you, I don't like the I don't know. How do I say this? I don't like the you have made a noise, a big, loud, farty noise. And I have to turn around and I have to address this noise that you've made, all right? I've got to somehow, and so now you've got my attention, and then you continue to make farty noises. And then you got my attention. You got to be able to deliver something better than me than okay, great, bud, thanks. It's like me and Lisa Randall with the pencils up my nose. So John Lineker is a tough fucking guy. And he pasted TJ a couple of times in ways that, you know, TJ was like, whoa, man, can't you see I'm about to moonwalk here? I'm trying to win the crowd over, buddy. I think Dwayne needs to have a talk with him. Say, me eating depends on you being able to pay me. You can't pay me so I can buy food to eat. If you're fucking around in there, stop it. You know, this is life and death. You don't think so? Get Mark Coleman on the phone. Get fucking, who's the guy they made Smashing Machine about? I can't even remember his name now. Super talented guy. It'll come to me. Or tweet me if you remember his name. Smashing Machine. Not Mark Coleman, big kid. Can't mess around. You absolutely positively can't mess around. So TJ and Cody should be the next one. It's got a lot of built-in drama. I pay that for $1. Okay, going back, I'm gonna go start moving pretty quickly now because we're coming to whatever. Yeah. So we got Tarek Saffiedine and Stun Gun. Stun Gun fought a terrible fight. Terrible fight. He was my pick, but he admittedly fought a terrible fight. Admittedly, I'm admitting that he is my pick, but I'm admitting that he had a terrible fight. Yeah. You guys are tweeting me. I just looked at the tweets. I'm sorry. I gotta do this. I get it. The tweets are very funny. He fought a terrible fight, but sometimes the jungle is against you. I said going into the fight, Tarek Saffiedine is one of those guys like Razor Rob McCullough, who I know, but I've never seen him win. That means all 6 of his losses I paid attention to, and I've seen, and he's not won. The earlier ones, the first 3 of those losses, I picked him to win. And it's not even so much a guy I can't trust. At this point now, there's one thing I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, and that's that Tarek Saffiedine is not winning. It was like he, in my mind, he did enough to win that fight. It's like in the Maltese Falcon. Wish me luck, Shamus. She's going up to jail for life for killing this guy. She's talking to Humphrey Bogart. Wish me luck, Shamus. Mark Kerr. Thank you. John. Wish me luck, Shamus. I got a raw deal. Your kind always there, sweetheart. Still, Tarek, what can you say? It's happened to you before. You should be used to it. Smoker and Borg. I picked Smoker. Smoker couldn't get off. Borg was hot. If Borg manages to pass a post-fight drug test, there's no reliable indicator. People are like, hey, man, look at TJ. Does he have a little bit of gyno going on? You, in your picture, I put some picture up when I was 245. Somebody said, you got gyno going on? I said, yeah. That was my first cycle. You know how bad that was? I was pulling the syringe out to the edge of the actual. I was like thinking, I'm going to tape 2 syringes together so I could get more than 5 cc's into my body. So I could just take two shots to get the numbers up over. Yeah, it's gyno. And then I said, man, this is cosmetically unattractive. I got to go get it cut out. Well, insurance will pay for it. Well, insurance won't pay for it because it's cosmetic surgery. Unless your doctor can make a claim that it is breast cancer. For him to make a claim that's breast cancer, you got to go get a mammogram. You haven't lived until you get a mammogram. You burst into the room where they give him that, and the guy looks up and you go, I think you're in the wrong place. No, I'm in the right place. Hey, says right here, buddy. And you know, I'm not in there shy, shuffling around. I'm here to get a mammogram. Excuse me, ladies. See, wait, my turn. All I gotta do is say Shaft, Richard Roundtree, breast cancer. They decide that there's some questionable lumps in there, which is the gyno. They go in and they cut it out. Gruesome surgery. Gruesome. They core out your nipples and they reach in like those games that catch the stuffed animals. And they core it out and they cut it. Then they fold your nipples back in. They slap it back over the top, which is bad because your skin pulls on it. So if you had tiny nipples, then you have them like this. And of course, after you get out of surgery, they tell you, oh, well, we just did the top half because it's too intrusive to do the bottom half. We'd have to cut your whole nipple off. We don't want that. We only open up a flap so there's still blood supply going to it. It doesn't die. Your nipple's dying. What happens if the nipples die? So, well, second surgery, the guy takes out the bottom half. Okay, but then he doesn't put the tubes in to drain them right. So the fluid collects now under the scar tissue. Have to have a third surgery done. Third surgeon, guy who has 2 hearing aids in. That's another story. Doesn't pay attention, cuts out both nipples, puts them on the fucking table. Sews them back on. Fortunately, my nipples lived. I'm done. I'm fucking cosmetic surgery. Right? So now I can conceivably take as many steroids as I want because I have no glandular material in there, and I still have sensation in my chest. That's an object lesson warning for you. You should not be taking 6 cc's a week of anything. I don't care what the professionals do. Do not do this. So anyway, I promised to Joe, I promised I would tell this story, so you got it. So I don't know for a fact that Borg is using, but I do know that the single clearest indicator to me that somebody's using is they have no refractory time. Boom, 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 boom. They do not need a break. Don't know. He fought a good fight though, and so I'm 1 down. So Kid Nate picked Tarek and he lost, but he picked Borg and he won. So now we're 1-1 against each other. We both picked Magny. Magny, whose name henceforth will be Snibbles. A Sesame Street character. I defy you. I defy you to show me one single living human being who looks more like a Sesame Street character called Neil Magny. And you know, and it was a solid win for Magny, but I don't trust him. Don't trust him. Don't trust him. He was making brave talk. Had he not won that fight, that brave talk would have qualified him for the misty climbs of a woodpile out back somewhere. I picked Alex Garcia, who, if he passes his drug test, will be Jake. Kid Nate picked Mike Pyle. So Kid Nate is down 2 to my 1. Is that right? Yes, that is right. And do we even it up? Others were don't cares. Let me check out our last pick. I'm sorry to have to do this in the last few minutes of the show, but I want to make sure that I've bested Kid Nate in the best of all possible ways. So anyway, I also want to, because this is not this is not a freaking what am I trying to say? This is not a like when Steve Jobs found out I worked at Mac Life. He goes, it's really like a fanzine, right? So we're not a fanzine for the UFC. So I do want to talk about the World Series of Fighting because that happened last night, and local boy made good. Jake Shields fought. Friend of Knuckle Up, Jake Shields, and I don't even really want to talk about Justin Getty. There was Crow Cop fought. Whatever. Let's see. So here, let's. This is what I want to talk about. 4 minutes to go. Here we go. This is the one I want to see. Yes. Let's see. Means eventually stands up. Is really the head of. Yeah. Okay. That was it was a no contest. So Kid Nate goes down to 2. I'm 1. I win. Alex Oliveira versus Tim Means. It was a knee that had the ground fighter, so ruled a no contest. So World Series of Fighting. Jake fought John Fitch, and I want to. Jake lost. Friend of Knuckle Up. Jake Shields lost, and I don't want to talk so much about his loss as I want to talk about what dude said, what John Fitch said post facto. And if you read the interview, he was like, his interview was sounding, I can't find it right now, I don't have time to go look for it. John Fitch's interview, you can read it in Sherdog, was saying very much kind of mimicking what you hear football players say of like, the thrill is gone. And more significantly, the things I gave away to get to where I've gotten to have made it so I can't ever enjoy them again. He goes, I'm fucked up. I can't do jiu-jitsu 3 times a week for fun. I love that. You don't know. This is painful. Not just physically, emotionally. You like rock and roll? Guess what? You can't listen to it again. You like cheesecake? Guess what? You can't eat it again. These are quality of life things that are a bit more serious than cheesecake and rock and roll. Dude is like, I gave it all, and now I got nothing, which I take issue with. You haven't read every book there is. Do like the guy from Queen. Get a degree in astrophysics. There's other stuff to do. But not being able to do that thing, I went into a spiral of depression occasioned by 2 concussions and hurting my back so badly that I couldn't lift weights. I've been lifting weights since I was 9. And then suddenly at the age of 19, could not do it. A decade committed to this bodybuilding lifestyle, down the tubes. Kind of lost my mind. But I was 19. Imagine being 42 and like, man, I just want to wind down and go do some jiu-jitsu every now. Can't do it at the same level, man. This is the curse of the professional. You can't do it at the same level. You think Michael Jordan could get on a basketball court and just have a fun shoot around? No. I tried to challenge Evander Holyfield to a fight when I interviewed him just for fun. He looked at me like I was insane. He laughed in my face. I said, that's all right. You don't do it. If you read the fight book, you've already heard this story. I'm just going to tell people you were afraid. He laughed even harder. What I should have done that time is slap him right in his face. And then when I woke up later, pen crinkled up in my palsied fist, I go, that was great. Whatever happened. The fight, by all accounts, which I haven't seen it, so I'm not even make the claim that I talked to, but I haven't seen the was fighting yet. Sorry, I came right back from my New Year's Eve celebration, which involved mud bathing, mineral spring, force jet soaking, cucumbers on the eyes, total body massage. Turns out the guy giving me the massage is martial artist, knows friends of mine, the Sistema guys from Truckee, where I go to do a seminar twice a year. Small world, baby. Celebrating the Robinson way. Me and the missus. So I can't even make that sound normal, right? Like I'm trying to give you the idea that we were sitting in front of the fire in our slippers, singing Christmas carols and drinking hot toddies and eggnog and celebrating the new year with a little noise. And rightly so, there's nothing like that. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about John Fitch talking about the wages of being, you could seek work elsewhere. Man, it's not cool, man. It's a drag and a half. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? I mean, really, what are you going to do? I mean, there are lots of things he could do. What do you want to do? And, with the kind of fight that they fought, this is a question that could be turned to Jake as well. He got paid for it. But none of us watching are in careers, I'm guessing, where you are going to be forced out before you hit 40 or 45 by hook or by crook. As a journalist, you're expected to make more than you did the year before. I'm not making tons of money, but I'm making a little bit more than I did before, right? That's not going to happen if you're a fighter. You could keep fighting, and we'll keep paying you, but each time we're going to pay you a little less. And that is a hard fucking reality. It pained me to hear it. I mean, all in all, it's like, I want to do. I don't know if you have known enough porn stars to know how things end up working out for them post-factum. Or how about this? Guys in rock bands. They did a behind the music thing where the guy putting up, you say, yeah, I put up billboards on Sunset Boulevard. I used to have a billboard on Sunset Boulevard, but now I'm putting them up. It's good work. I'm glad to have it. Boy, man, that shit rolls, and it rolls hard. You want to feel sorry for somebody? Feel sorry for John Fitch. I feel sorry for Honda. I mean, she was not in the game. Should not have been in the cage. The best part is that when she goes, so does Tara. You can sell, workout packages to moms who finally wised up and taking their kid out of Taekwondo classes. So starting off 2017, while I am full of hope, vim, and vigor, and a joyous belief in that this is the age of Eugene, mistaken or not, this fight delivered some fucking sobering truths, and I'm not just saying that because it's in the title. Anyway, I've overstayed my welcome by 5 minutes. That's the end of the show. We're going to be back later on in the week with a If I Did It. We're going to be back with another Care Don't Care preview because I got a hard time breathing deeply because my back still hurts. Hey, any of you guys out there got access to some Vicodin? I need some. I'm actually not kidding. I had a friend who had somebody who wouldn't give it to me. I go, why not? I have an ethical commitment. I don't have friends with ethics. Come on, my back is killing me. And he refused. Somewhere there's a brother who wouldn't give me a bowl of soup. So anyway, Mark Kerr, yeah, thanks. We'll be back with If I Did It, and I'm pretty sure there's a fight next week with the Care Don't Care preview. My kid's got a wrestling tournament on Saturday, so I may be late. I think, no, it's Friday. She's got it on Friday. So, yeah, I will not be late with anything. So, this is the end of the show. We'll see you later on this week. Knuckle Up 283. I'm your host, Eugene S. Robinson. Tweet thing at Eugene S. Robinson, not the other guy. The @ symbol, Eugene S. Robinson. I'm all full up on Facebook, but you can follow me, Eugene S. Robinson, I think. And then there are other ways to get a hold of me. If you don't know them, figure it out. We'll see you next week. Look what you made me do!